Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of the Believe in Lions podcast. That's BLEAV. I'm your host, as always, Jack Kavanaugh, and I am joined by a man who had a couple interceptions for the Detroit Lions, a Pro Bowler, an NFL interception leader, and a man who just went back to Detroit, his return home. It's Glover Quinn.
Yes, sir. What is up, man?
Not too much. Enjoying the week we just had, enjoying the fact that the Lions are 6-2 heading into the bye, and enjoying watching all of your content all throughout the weekend.
Oh man, well should have been made for a good weekend. It's a great time being back, man. The Lions did what we expected them to do. Well, almost what I expected them to do. I actually had them scoring another touchdown. I think I had predicted 34 to 14 or 17 or something like that. So we were right on par. They just should have got in the end zone a couple more times. But it was a great weekend being back, man. Homecoming weekend, being around a lot of the former players, legends, and being back in the city, feeling the love from the fans. It was a great time, man. Great weekend.
It was awesome just to follow along with all of your stops, seeing you at the tailgate, seeing you at the boxing ring, seeing you with Barry Sanders, seeing you with Calvin Johnson, Stephen Tully, Isaiah Johnson. What a lineup that you were with.
Yeah, I mean it was cool. The one thing that I will say, and me and Tully talked about it a lot, is we got to do more to get more of our younger alumni back. Because it was a big gap. You had a lot of the older guys. Obviously Lomas was getting put into the pride of the Lions, so you had a lot of the guys from his time, his teammates, the older guys. I would call them 55 plus, 60, that age group. So we need to get more of those, 38, 42, 43, get some of them guys to come back and just have a good time. Nate Burleson, he will be in there, and I mean, I'm sure it'd be difficult to get Sue to come back, but get Sue and Ziggy and what I'm saying, just some of the guys, Rasheem Mathis. And I know he spent most of his career in in Jacksonville, but he was fun to have in Detroit for a little while. James Ahedibo, a lot of those guys, man. Get Kyle Vanden Bosch back out there, and Dominic Raiola and Rob Sims, and what I'm saying, just bring us a lot of the guys back, man. So we got to do a better job of that. But for the most part, it was a good weekend, being able to see a lot of the guys, seeing Calvin, seeing Tully, hanging out with those guys. Haven't really hung out with those guys, since I left. I've talked with them, but not really hung out with them. So it was just good to be back, seeing Isaiah. He was a young guy when I was there. So getting to see him, see how these guys are doing, what they're doing business wise, all types of things, man. So it was just a good trip, good weekend. Shout out to the Lions for putting that on.
Yeah, and it was just so fun following along, including with Arian Foster popping up in your chat saying that Stephen Tully actually pinched a nerve in his neck.
Yeah, I mean, back in our Houston days, I think Tully was in Tennessee at the time. We used to go back and forth. We used to go back and forth with those guys, twice a year. And then, in 2012, when Tully was in Detroit, Foster was in Houston as well. We played them on Thanksgiving Day, so I'm sure they had they plenty of run-ins with each other. But it was actually cool. Yeah, I don't really go live that often. So, what I'm saying, to see guys pop in, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool to follow along with that, and also cool to see you get gifted that chain you've got on there. For the people watching on YouTube, you can see the chain, but if you haven't, go check out Glover's Instagram, go check out the Lions Twitter page. They had it all rocking that chain.
Yeah, man, it was actually kind of cool. I was doing a meet and greet with some fans, and a cool fan walked under there, and he had a chain. I was like, "Oh, that chain's swaggy," you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to get one of them. And he took his picture, him and his daughter, I think, and they left. And, like 20 minutes later, they came back. And I don't know if they went and got some chains from somewhere. I don't know where you get them from. Or if they gave us the chain off their neck and was like, y'all can have them, we'll get some more. I don't know what happened, but shout out to that fan, that guy, for blessing me with this dope chain, man. So, hey, man, if you're a Lions fan and you know where they are or you know how to get them, you know what I'm saying, spread the love so people can get one, man, because they definitely rocking. I didn't think I was going to make it out of there with mine just from people asking for it, fans asking for it. I generally would give stuff away, but I would just like, you know what? A special fan gave this to me, so it's be only right for me to keep it and represent. So I'm keeping it.
Absolutely. You got to keep stuff like that. And the fans sure seem to appreciate it. The Lions posted the picture of you and Calvin on the sideline. You had the chain on, and there were two very popular comments. It seemed like everyone either said, wow, that chain is swaggy as hell. That chain is fire. Or they said, oh my God, Glover's back in Detroit. Glover, hi, I miss you. So the fans were excited.
What they posted that at on Instagram?
I saw it on Twitter. I'll have to send you
On
it after.
Twitter?
Yeah, I'll send you it after the
I
show.
had to check it out. I had to check it out.
Might have been on Instagram too, but I was reading all the Twitter comments. But people were excited as hell to see you there. Did you feel that energy in Ford Field and around Detroit, that it was just they were excited to see you, excited for the Lions, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, you know what I'm saying? Like a little bit of both. I think a lot of fans were excited to see me, and that makes you feel good. I mean, it means that you did something good with your time here. You made an impression on a lot of people. A lot of people enjoy watching you play. And that makes you feel good knowing that, hey man, you know, you did some good things, you know what I'm saying? And that was actually pretty cool. But then just the excitement around the lines is exciting, and to be a part of that. And like I said, to still be young enough to where, a lot of these fans still remember me. You know what I'm saying? They remember me. And it was just a good time, man. Everywhere I went, from restaurants to the boxing, the community service, like everywhere was just a good time. Um, the downtown Detroit was actually really cool. I walked around, took some pictures. I love taking pictures in Detroit. It's just such a it's a historical, just dope. Like some of the buildings there just streams like history, and it looks a certain way. And it was a gloomy couple days, so it kind of fit like the look. And it was dope, man. Like I said, it was a good time. It was a good time, man. So I had a good time. That's really all I can say. It was good.
And obviously, it is fun being on the field as well. It sounded loud as hell in there. What was the vibe like on the sideline when the game was actually happening in the pregame, getting to the actual football now?
Man, it was a dope vibe, man. Just being there, the light shine bright, man. And golly, people kept asking me all the time about missing football and this and this and that. You know, and when you're not around it, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. You don't really, but being on the sideline, being there Monday night, I told, a couple guys asked me, I'm like, you know what, this is what you miss. You know what I'm saying? You miss, the bright lights, you miss the game, you miss the fans, and that's what you miss, man. The brotherhood, going out there and going to battle with your brothers. You don't really miss the preparation. That gets hard and all that stuff. But just the game, man, that's just fun. And the environment was crazy. The fans were going crazy. It was just good, man. Just so being able to be down there doing the intros, seeing it from a different perspective. I tried to, show the fans like that. I tried with what I was doing with the content from the game. I really was just trying to get people to see this is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. This is the environment. This is it. So it was actually a dope time, man. I really was impressed by everything, and it brought back definitely some good memories for sure.
And so I imagine you didn't end up getting in the locker room to give a pregame speech, but were you chatting with any of the guys during the game, before the game? We saw after the game you were hanging out with Amir Abdullah. Nice to have him back hanging out with the Lions. But
Well, I saw Amir pregame. That was actually
Okay.
pregame when I saw Amir. No, they didn't have us in the locker room for pregame speeches or postgame stuff. I saw a couple players on the field. I saw them running up at halftime. I think I had recorded some stuff, but I can't remember. I don't think I posted that one. At halftime, saw a couple of guys running up, Tracy and Jerry and Cam, and you know what I'm saying, a few of the different guys. Um, I don't know if I posted that one or not. Dang, I might have forgot. But that was about it. You know what I'm saying? That was about it. I mean, they kind of did their own thing and we're in their own lane. And, you know, we kind of were doing our thing as the alumni. And, you know, so it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah, it looked like a good time and a good game to be at as well, especially from a secondary perspective. I'm sure watching live in person, seeing that Kirby Joseph has the interception, Tracy Walker has the sack, and then Devonte Adams, one reception for 11 yards. Granted, he did get open a couple times. The Raiders just couldn't connect with Adams. So, what did you see live and in person from the secondary, and what were your thoughts? Were you impressed? Were you nervous? How'd it go?
I mean, they look good. They look good in person. You know, outside of those plays, I don't know what Cam was doing on a couple of those plays. He was kind of playing up close and like doing like a bail technique, but he wasn't bailing all the way. It was like he was reading something. And Devontae should be the guy that he's reading because yeah, he had one catch for 11 yards, but he could have had three catches for 180 yards. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So with two touchdowns. So yeah, that's definitely something they got to clean up, the communication. What was going on right there? Was it some busted coverages or some bad reads or whatever was going on? They got to get that cleaned up. But I thought it was a pretty clean game. You know, that interception that Kirby Joseph had, I don't know why Garoppolo threw that ball. I felt like I could have picked that off.
Well,
You
you
know,
would have. You've got better hands than Kirby, so
no
obviously you would
disrespect
have.
to Kirby, but I felt like I could have picked that one off. But hey, Garoppolo threw it. I don't know if he was trying to force feed it to Devontae Adams at the time, but that definitely wasn't a throw that he should have made. And you know, Garoppolo just didn't play well. I mean, he had a fourth down early in the game, and Josh Jacobs is standing wide open right on top of the sticks right there, and he just don't throw in the ball. He just didn't really play a good game, and hence why you see he's gotten benched, and you know, coordinators are fired, coaches are fired. That's what people don't understand. Those are the pressures of playing professional football. People see all the glitz, the glam, the greatness, the fun, all that stuff, but you're literally holding other grown men's jobs and livelihood in your hand. So it comes with a level of responsibility, a level of, you know, accountability, because when you play well, it affects other people around you. When you don't play well, it affects other people around you. And now you got two men that are out of job. And I get it, they probably still get paid and they have this and have that, but they're out of a job. And a lot of it has to do with the play of the quarterback. Do they have something to do with it? I'm sure. But at the end of the day, Jimmy Garoppolo is the one that goes out and make throws. Those coaches didn't miss neither one of those wide open targets. He missed them. Those coaches didn't throw that pass into double coverage. He did. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. But at the end of the day, it was a great day for the Lions defensively. Alex Anzalone got a couple sacks in there. Like you said, Tracy had a sack in there. The secondary played well. It was just a good day. The energy was high from start to finish, and you know, they did exactly what they should have did outside of maybe scoring a couple more points.
Could have scored a couple more points. Could have had a little bit cleaner coverage on a couple plays, but at the end of the day, when other teams leading receivers, it's two guys and it's tied 19 yards on two receptions. It's a pretty good day for the defense. And like you said, it basically cost four people their jobs. And obviously, there's more that goes on behind the scenes that led up to this. But Jimmy Garoppolo, he is now being benched. He's lost his job. He's probably going to be cut next year. Josh McDaniels loses his job. They have a new head coach, former linebacker for the Giants as well, Antonio Pierce. So that's going to be interesting. GM loses his job, and the offensive coordinator loses his job. That's four people off of
Dang, they fired
one
Mike too.
performance. Yeah, they fired Mick Lombardi, and they fired the GM, Dave Ziegler, as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see the GM go down, but hey, that's what happens. That's what happens.
It's
You know, it's crazy.
It's the way the NFL works, and these two were a package deal. It's interesting, you fire a guy who didn't get to pick his head coach and don't give him a chance to ever pick a head coach, but it was a package deal. It's a lot. It's a lot to take on. I've never really been in this situation as a Lions fan where you see after the game, you have to reckon with all of the people losing their jobs after.
Yeah. I'm surprised the Devontae just didn't stay in Detroit. I wish they would have made that happen. Obviously, that's a big move for Oakland, and they probably felt like, hey, Devontae's a great player. Let's get rid of these coaches and see if we can get somebody else in and keep Devontae happy, and try to use him to bring other guys into Vegas, because if we get rid of him and keep these coaches, that's not going to make players want to come and play. So they did the right thing. And, Antonio Pierce was a good linebacker. He played a long time, he's a smart guy. You never know how guys are going to be as a head coach, but hey, hopefully he does a great job. And maybe that's the job that he get, after the season.
And that's kind of what I'm reading into this all as well, is that it wasn't working out with McDaniels. The vibe there was bad. Josh Jacobs probably wasn't going to re-sign. So now they're making an appeal to Josh Jacobs, keep him next year, appeal to Davante Adams. Hey, we can fix this. We can get this all in sync. But it's just unfortunate. The Raiders are going to have to start over pretty much from scratch, kind of like the Lions had to do a couple years ago when they hired Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, that's just part of it. You got to do that. When you make a big overhaul like this, like the coaching staff, or as the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the GM. I mean, and they signed those guys. They signed Josh McDaniel to a long deal. So they're going to owe him a lot of money. So it had to be bad for them to say, hey, we're going to get this guy out of here. Even though we owe him a lot of money, we got to get him out of here and get somebody else in. So, hey, I don't know what all goes on behind the scene, but I mean, I just wish that the NFL would stop giving Josh McDaniel opportunities to be head coach, because he's clearly shown that he's not that guy. So can we please stop putting him in our top 5 head coaching candidates? Is not Josh McDaniels. Can we please get the message?
First coach in NFL history to be fired twice before his second season was finished. Just didn't work out, not going to work out. We'll see if he returns back to New England or how it shakes out.
That got to be where he goes. I don't know where else he goes.
At this point, not the Indianapolis Colts, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Moving back to the Lions. Yeah, moving back to the Lions here. 26-14, like you said, it didn't feel as close as the score indicated, and it felt like the Lions, like you also said, should have had 34, 38 points, could have even scored 40. It felt as though they were settling for field goals because they didn't fear the Raiders, which I understand because it's the Raiders, but that mentality also worries me in more competitive games.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If I don't fear somebody, then field goals are not the way of showing that to me.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't fear somebody, then I'm going for it. Why? Because if I don't get it, I don't think that you can go down and score. Field goals are for people that I kind of fear, because, hey, man, we're going to need every point that we can get. So we can get 3, let's scratch 3, and hopefully we can get another. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't score and they go, like, it's going to be tough. So we're trying to get every point that we can get. And then when we get down closer inside the 10 or the 5, we may have to go for it, because we're going to need touchdowns as well, right? But if I don't fear you, like, I ain't kicking a field goal. I'm finna go score. We down close to the end zone. We're in the red zone. We're inside of 20. We're going to score. I don't care. We ain't kicking a field goal. I don't trust the offense can go 80 yards on us anyway. Bump it. We setting the tone. It's Monday night in Detroit, national TV. We're setting the freaking tone. We get a bye week next week. We'll heal up. We'll rest up then. We're going all in right now. That would have been my tone. It wouldn't have been kicking all these field goals and playing the conservative. But, hey, that's what they did. They won the game. But I definitely would have, I don't know, tried a little more.
I would have been a little bit more aggressive, and it felt like they got a little cute at times. And I get getting cute is kind of aggressive, but Amon-Ra St. Brown can't take a sack on a pitch pass. That can't happen.
Yeah. And I think Josh Reynolds was wide open on that play as well.
He was wide open standing in the end zone. He got afraid of the defenders coming up, and it just
Yeah.
It got too cute, resulted in a couple field goals like that, but it was still it almost felt like they slept walked to that win.
Yeah, I mean, they could have won that. Like you said, they could have won that game in their sleep. The Raiders are not playing very well. Bunch of turmoil as we see. So the Lions did what they should have done. Other than, like I said, they should have scored more. And I don't know if you should give up 14 points to them, but they do still got good players. Josh Jacobs is a good player. Devontae Adams didn't do much, but having him create some other things for other players. And then the pick six by Marcus Peters, hey man, that's what he does. That's just what he do. He's been that type of player since he came in the league. He's big. He's a big play guy. You know what I'm saying? And he made one and took it back, and that's how they got, I think their first touchdown. So, it happens. It happens. Defensively, you win that game 26-7. Team-wise, you win it 26-14. Should have easily been 34 at least. At least 29. Guy misses a 25-yard field goal at the end of the game. Like, what are we doing, man? If we're gonna kick, at least make it.
That killed me. And he's been good this year as well.
Right.
No shade to him, but that just, ugh.
So those are the things that, like, over the bye week, that when coach is like, hey, we got to clean the film up, that's stuff that he's talking about, right? The two blown coverages on Devontae Adams. Why is he running? Why is a guy like Devontae Adams running wide open in the secondary? Yes, Garoppolo missed. We can't expect other guys to miss, right? And when you're playing against teams that you should beat, like Minnesota coming up and Chicago, those are plays that could hurt you, right? Leaving guys running wide open, and then they actually hit those throws, and now you've given up 2 touchdowns. That hurts you. So it didn't hurt us Monday night, but it could hurt us if we don't get it fixed. Missing 25-yard field goals didn't hurt us on Monday night, but it could hurt us if we don't get this stuff fixed. So those are some of the things that we got to clean up.
Yeah.
And it's easier to clean them up coming off of a win going into the bye week.
Yeah, because when you face Justin Herbert after the bye, he's completing that pass to Devontae Adams or whichever wide receiver we're letting run wide open. So you can't repeat that. You got to clean that up. But there also was a lot to like. Outside of the pick six, Goff played really well. It kind of felt like he could just do whatever he wanted. Despite a weird game from the receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown was great, 6 for 108. Laporta, 8 receptions, 57 yards, and a TD. But then Josh Reynolds, only 1 catch. He fumbles that catch, and so that's bad. Jameson Williams, only 2 receptions, 16 yards, has the drop. Khalif Raymond, 24 yards. And so that all results in the Lions going out and making a trade for Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah. I mean, we knew they had to get some help at wide receiver. I mean, losing Marvin, although he wasn't doing much, but you still got to add somebody. And then, Jameson, every time I see him drop a pass, is passes that are below his eyesight, and he tries to catch it with his body instead of his hands. And so the ball is below. What I mean by below his eyesight means, if a ball's coming right at you, boom, you can catch it like this. Or if it's over your head, you go up here and catch it. But when it's below your eyesight, unless you're catching it out like this right here, you probably got your hands in. So now the ball passes your eyes before it gets to your hands. And instead of him catching it with his hands, it's like he's trying to catch it with his body and it's hitting off his arms because he's not seeing it. So he got to trust his hands more. See, on those deep passes, he catches it the same way, but I think that's more of his speed. He likes those hard passes going to the out where you need to be using your hands to catch those passes. He doesn't seem to be very comfortable with those. And so that's something that he needs to work on. Otherwise, he's just going to be known as a deep target. And it's hard to be a really good deep target when they know that you're only a deep target.
Sounds like he needs some hand school.
Definitely need some hand school. He don't need jugs. He need hand school. Like, he need the quarterback throwing the ball so he can see it coming out of his break down below his eyes so he can catch those passes.
Yeah, throw one up here, throw one down here, throw one up here, down here.
I got a perfect drill for him too. I used to do it. Maybe I need to show it to him, send him a video.
That sounds like you might need to get in touch with Jameson Williams. I think the Lions need Coach GQ reaching out and teaching some hand school.
Yeah, it works. It
I
works.
I've seen enough interceptions from you that I know it absolutely works. Maybe Donovan Peoples-Jones goes to hand school too. I don't know. But they finally get that big body on the outside. It feels like they've looked for it since Dan Campbell got here. They try it with Brashad Perriman. Tyrell Williams first year doesn't work out. Worked okay with DJ Chark last year, but then again, he's hurt. He's off and on, and he leaves. Tried it with Denzel Mims. Tried it with Marvin Jones. So now it's Donovan Peoples-Jones' turn to step up and try to fill that role.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know a lot about Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do, but the Lions made a trade for him. It felt like he was somebody that could add some value to what they needed. So, hey, you got to trust the front office. You got to trust what they're doing. You can't, be on board for some things and not on board for other things. You either got to trust them or you don't. So if you trust those guys, you understand that, hey, this was the move that they felt like would help us. This is what we needed. From a team standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a camaraderie, from a structure, from a chemistry, all those different things go into it. And they felt like he was a guy and they made the trade. So hopefully it works out.
And that's kind of how I felt about it too. A 6th-round pick for a potential starter. Great. Sign me up for that. Getting that body type of wide receiver that you've been looking for so long. And at least you know he can do it. We don't know if it's going to be a dominant level, a good level, but we know he is an NFL caliber starter, which is something they have had trouble finding at that role in the past. So I like it. I'm excited for it. It was just a little bit disheartening when you see these blockbuster trades go down. And I get it. It's all part of the long-term plan. But when you see Chase Young go to the 49ers for a 3rd-round pick, and the Eagles getting Kevin Byard, these are all pro type players. It's like, oh, that makes this division or this conference just a little bit harder.
Yeah, I mean, Chase Young going to the 49ers is a big deal. If he can stay healthy, he's definitely going to make that defense better. The Commanders basically threw in a towel. It happens. They're going to have major changes over there. But yeah, I mean, I saw, the Vikings end up taking Josh Dobbs. Obviously, Kirk Cousins goes down and they need a quarterback and they get Josh Dobbs. And it's kind of like, and I saw Arizona was like, Josh Dobbs is definitely not starting or playing. So it's either going to be this guy or Kyler Murray. And you're like, has he been playing that bad that you're to the point where you're like, he's done? And then he gets traded to Minnesota the next day? I don't know, man. That's weird to me. But, what did Minnesota see in Josh Dobbs to make him that valuable to them? Like, I don't understand some of that stuff, man. But hey, they got Josh Dobbs, and I mean they didn't. Kirk Cousins is out, so that's definitely gonna hurt them. See what happens with Jettas if he even comes back, or how he's gonna, pursue his remaining time in Minnesota. So the Lions gotta, if the Lions can't win this division and make a run for 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs, then we might have to see what's going on with the Lions. Like earthly. It has to be something in the clouds.
Lions are going to win this division. Lions are going to beat the Vikings. Lions are going to beat the Packers again. Lions are going to beat the Bears twice. We'll see if Justin Fields is even their quarterback at that point or if it's Tyson Bagent still.
Right.
It's a good time to be a Lions fan. It really, truly is. And I get people are frustrated that, oh, we didn't get Chase Young. Oh, the Bears traded for Montez Sweat, but we've seen the Bears blow 2nd-round picks in the past. So I'm not worried about it. I'm excited. And I think it's just a good time to be a Lions fan.
Oh, no question. Great time to be a Lions fan. Hence why I'm still rocking my chain. So it's going down in the D.
Any final thoughts here on the team in general? I guess we didn't touch on Jahmyr Gibbs, who just balled the hell
I was just about to say, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, seeing him in person during the game, like he did his thing. I mean, he's just an explosive guy. And he was able to get out in space, get enough touches, get comfortable that, he really showed, why he was a first rounder. And if he can continue to play on that level, they get David Montgomery back after the bye, hopefully. I mean, between those two guys, they're gonna have a really good 1-2 punch. And all it takes is a game like that to get your confidence high. And, now he had that big game. He's going to go back to Alabama this weekend. They playing LSU. He's probably going to get all types of love. He's going to be really feeling good. Just make sure you don't make any crazy mistakes. Being back in college, you can make it back to Detroit safely Sunday night and be ready to go next week.
And it's a great time for the Lions to have a bye as well. David Montgomery's going to get healthy. Hopefully, Jonah Jackson comes back healthy after the bye. Hal Vaitai gets a chance to get healthy. So that's 3 offensive starters right there that have a chance to return after the bye. And the Lions are already 6-2.
Yeah, and their schedule has been perfect for stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They had the opening night on Thursday night, then they got to, the extra little break. They played about 3 or 4 games, I think it was, and then they had another Thursday night game. And so you get that little extra couple of days break. And then now you're at basically the midpoint of the season almost, and you get a bye. And then they're going to play 2 or 3 games, and then it's going to be the Thanksgiving game, and they're going to get another little break. And then you got a 6-game or whatever game stretch at the end, or a 5-game, whatever it is. I mean, I think it sets up well for those guys schedule wise. I think it does.
It really, really does. We could be here in a couple months, and these are the only 2 losses that we have on our record.
That'd be good. That'll put you at the, depending on what happens with Philly, that put you at least the 2 seed. And hey, man, you don't get a bye week as the 2 anymore, but getting 2 home games in the playoffs before you have to go on the road, if you have to go on the road, that's huge.
Absolutely massive. The Lions are in perfect position right now. Any final thoughts on the Lions, the NFL, the upcoming bye week, or just life in general?
Nah, man, just exciting times. Just exciting times to be a Lions fan, be an NFL fan. If your team is doing well, then shout out to you guys. It's holiday season officially. Hope everybody had a safe and fun Halloween. Now it's on to November. So you got 3 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks before Thanksgiving. So don't wait till after the holidays to start your workout plans. Get it in right now so you can enjoy the holidays and not have to worry about counting your calories. Just work out a couple days a week. Enjoy some football. It's getting cold outside. Cook your gumbo if you're down south. Cook your soup, your chili, all those good things. And just enjoy this time of the year. It's a great time of the year. So, yeah, that's really all I got.
Great time of year. Great time in the fall in the NFL season. Great time to be a Detroit Lions fan, and a great time to have a bye week. So the Lions have the weekend off. Then we will be back to preview the Lions after that. But until then, we will see you next time.
Peace.